لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك. محمد نبينا بنور هدينا محمد نبينا بنور هدينا.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria NAHCON has signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU with the Saudi Ministry of Hajj on the 2019 Hajj exercise. Nigeria's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Khadija Bukar Abba Ibrahim, signed the MOU on behalf of the country, while the Saudi Arabian Minister for Hajj and Umrah, Dr. Mohammed Saleh bin Tahir Benton, signed for the kingdom. The MOU documents were endorsed at the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah office in Makkah. Speaking at the event, Honorable Khadija Ibrahim expressed satisfaction with the handling of Hajj affairs by the Saudi authorities, particularly the reception accorded Nigerian pilgrims. She applauded all stakeholders involved in Hajj planning and execution, which she said made the operation less cumbersome. In his remarks, Dr. Tahir Benton extolled Nigeria for the successful management of the 2018 Hajj operations, saying Nigerian pilgrims had exhibited good conduct during the exercise. He gave the assurance that Saudi government will assist Nigeria and her people in making subsequent Hajj exercises easier and comfortable. The signing ceremony of the MOU is an annual event during which countries are invited separately to commit to agreements that will shape their participation in the pilgrimage. In the MOU, Nigeria's Hajj quota for 2019 remains 95,000, just as it was in 2018. Earlier, Nigerian delegation, which include NAHCON Chairman Barrister Abdullah Mukhtar Mohammed, Nigerian Ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Ambassador Issa Dodo, and Consul General Ambassador Yunusa Mohammed, among other officials, held a meeting with Saudi delegation. The meeting, chaired by the Saudi Deputy Minister of Hajj, Dr. Hussein Ibn Nasser al-Sharif, discussed bilateral issues on Hajj and Umrah with the view to forging greater understanding and charting better ways forward. The meeting focused on the following: Nigeria's request for a waiver on the issue of the 2,000 Saudi riyals charged on pilgrims participating in Hajj for the second or more times in less than 5 years. Request to make the issuance of visa less cumbersome. Request for Nigeria to be included in the newly introduced arrangement tagged Makkah Road Project. And the question of pilgrims undergoing immigration clearance at airports in their home countries instead of being subjected to the same upon arrival at Saudi airports. Nigeria also requested for General Authority of Civil Aviation, GACA, to regard NAHCON as a guarantor for air carriers so that allocation of airlift slots and flight schedules can be fast-tracked for the convenience of Nigerian pilgrims.
Muhammad Nabina binuru hadina Muhammad.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria NAHCON and the Nigeria Armed Forces are strengthening ties in order to consolidate on the successes recorded in Hajj management. The two bodies made this commitment when the representatives of the Pilgrims Unit of the Armed Forces, led by the Director of Policy and Plan Department at Defense Headquarters Abuja, Major General I.O. Rabiu, visited NAHCON headquarters in Abuja. They were received by the Chairman, Barrister Abdullah Mukhtar Mohammed. While exchanging views with his visitors, he reiterated the commitment of the Commission to continue with its reforms towards improving Hajj operations for the good of Nigerian pilgrims. The armed forces, just like state pilgrims welfare boards, has its own unit that handles pilgrims matters.
Muhammad Nabina binuru hadina
In its plans to rehabilitate Hajj camps and also construct hospitals, hotels, mosques, among others, the officials of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, led by its chairman Barrister Abdullahi Mukhtar Muhammad, inspected Kano State Hajj camp to see firsthand the site for the various projects to be undertaken by the Commission. These projects include the rehabilitation of the Hajj camp and the construction of ultra-modern hospital, hotels and mosques. Executive Secretary of Kano State Pilgrims Welfare Board, Mohammed Abba Dambatta, led the team on the inspection of different parts of the camp, including the board headquarters. Earlier on, the NAHCON chairman met with officials of the board and other stakeholders from the Kano zone. He said the idea of constructing hotels similar to the ones in Saudi Arabia is to attune Nigerian pilgrims with the modern facilities even before traveling out. He spoke in Hausa.
Sansanin alhazai mai tsarin hotel wanda akalla zai iya ɗaukar kusan mutum 400 zuwa 500 a lokaci guda. Kuma tsarin hotel din shine kamar yadda tsarin hotel din da alhazai suke sauka idan sun tafi Saudi Arabia. Wannan za a yi shi a tashi daga tsarin da ake da shi da irin na dogon ɗakin yan makaranta wanda lokacin da ake tafiya aikin hajji a wannan lokacin da aka yi waɗannan gine-gine an je Saudi Arabia ma a irin wannan ake zama. Amma yanzu kowa ya tafi Saudi Arabia a hotel yake zama mai ɗaki da toilet ɗin shi da komi.
The chairman is expected to visit more Hajj camps in other zones. The projects are being executed with monies generated from Hajj Development Levy.
Projects are spread across states.
The head of Hajj Development Levy Unit at NAHCON, Mustafa Abbas, shed more light on this in an interview.
The projects are ongoing. Some have been awarded. The projects are ongoing. Some are yet to be awarded, but very soon all the other states will have a feeling of what we are doing. We are reaching out to other states as time goes on.
He said the project is being carried out based on the need of each Hajj camp.
Depending on the individual Hajj camps, we look at the priority areas of each state, or rather the various camps, Hajj camps we have across the country. Some states have challenges with their toilets, some have challenges with their mosque, some have challenges with the accommodation for pilgrims at the camps.
The Executive Secretary of Adamawa State Pilgrims Welfare Board, Engineer Umar Buboy, has commended the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, for providing training opportunities for state personnel on information communication technology (ICT), saying the arrangement will address some of the challenges experienced in data capturing in previous Hajj. Engineer Buboy stated this in Yola while addressing questions from newsmen. He noted that the development has enhanced the capacity of state personnel in managing ICT. He further disclosed that the state has commenced pilgrims registration and called for the collection of deposits.
The registration of pilgrims for the 2019 Hajj is underway across the country. For pilgrims to get themselves registered, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, in collaboration with state pilgrims welfare boards, has come up with guidelines or requirements that must be fulfilled by all intending pilgrims. The conditions are: intending pilgrims must have valid Nigerian travel documents and a known identity. No registration by proxy. Intending pilgrims must have a guarantor as approved by NAHCON, which include district head, a civil servant not below level 12. They must also be physically and mentally fit. They must not be under any form of restrictions from travel by a code of competent jurisdiction or under any travel restriction by any law enforcement agency, and pregnant women must not be registered. Added to these, there are also other requirements set by the Saudi government. They include mahram for female intending pilgrims and payment of 2,000 Saudi riyal for those repeating Hajj or Umrah.
All these guidelines set out is to safeguard, is in their own interest, is to ensure that the right person is carried on Hajj and they don't fall into wrong hands of dupes. So most of these measures is to safeguard the interests of the pilgrims themselves.
We are not saying that if you are sick, you will not be allowed to travel for pilgrimage. No. We want to be sure that we know about the health status of each one under our entourage. We prepare for him. If you have, for example, asthma, yeah, you can still go. We are aware we have an asthmatic person within the contingent. We prepare for that. Whether we take drugs or we assist him to obtain the relevant drugs while there. But we always insist, if you want to go with your drugs, you must obtain prescription from a government hospital that will aid you in facilitating passage with your drugs at any checkpoint.
We have it in place that no intending pilgrim will be registered by proxy. But you will see sometimes our registration officers, maybe because of the caliber of the person that came to register on behalf of somebody, they will collect the passport and register that person. And at the end, it may create some chaos to us. But this year we are saying all the guidelines must be followed strictly. So the issue of registering an intending pilgrim by proxy will not even arise.
In its efforts to ensure full compliance by pilgrims, NAHCON adopted the online registration process.
Why do we do this? We discover that a lot of people that want to go to Hajj don't even know the offices of State Pilgrim Board. They approach either their imam or those that they know in the community. And in doing that, they may end up paying more than what they're supposed to pay to the government. And because of we don't want corruption in Hajj commissions, in Hajj management in Nigeria, we now decided that every intending pilgrim should register online. Which means, as you register online, the state cannot change that intending pilgrim except need be.
Furthermore, NAHCON is insisting on each pilgrim having a guarantor in order to address the challenges of abscondment and ensure that the pilgrims are known by members of the community in which they reside.
Each intended pilgrim must have a guarantor. This guarantor must be somebody who is working with the government, either local government or state government, not below the rank of level 12 officers. An imam, Juman Mosque can also sign your guarantee form. Also, a district head or local chief or OB can also sign your guarantee form. Then, district head, as I've said, must sign your guarantee form, which means guarantee that the pilgrims will come back to Nigeria after Hajj. We don't want anybody to overstay in Saudi Arabia because the purpose of going there is to perform your Islamic obligations, which is Hajj.
The guarantor is to serve as a kind of confirming that the person is of good character and the person is now standing in case of any misbehavior. That will serve as a checkmate to the person, that when you remember that somebody is standing for me, you wouldn't want to tarnish the image of that person. Once you have that at your back of your mind that somebody is standing for me, you won't want to tarnish the image of that person. The guarantor too will think twice before standing in for somebody that is a person that he can vouch for and he can confirm that that person is of good character, that will not disappoint him and tarnish his image.
Pregnant women are disqualified because their condition cannot withstand the rigors of Hajj rites.
Well, we always advise for pregnant women to travel because of the tedious period of Hajj, which is about that 5 days, where you're going to be in Muna and Arafat, and because of the weather. So it's always advisable for pregnant women to wait until they deliver before they perform Hajj.
From experience, you see pilgrims, because of the rigor of the Hajj rites, a pregnant woman is at risk. You see a series of cases of threatened abortion in the Holy Land. It's so rampant. So even the Saudi authorities too frown at it. So medically, it is not encouraging and it's not advisable for pregnant women to undertake the journey because of the risk involved.
During the 2018 Hajj, the Saudi government made it compulsory for any pilgrim repeating the Hajj to pay additional 2,000 Saudi riyals before they are issued visa. The 2019 Hajj also comes with the same condition.
Once the passport is uploaded in the system, this money will be deducted from the IBAN account. So since your passport is there as at the time you perform Hajj, so which means nobody say you should not go to Hajj every year. If you have the means and you can pay this 2,000 riyal, which is fine from the Saudi government. For those that want to be going to Hajj every year, you should be ready to pay 2,000 Saudi riyal as against others that have not traveled before.
In addition to this, female intending pilgrims will not be allowed into the kingdom without mahram. Another important aspect of the registration is the provision of national identification card to ensure that individuals who reside in Nigeria illegally are not allowed to travel under NAHCON umbrella.
We also said that for you to be registered, you must have a national identity card, national management identity card. Because we are trying to marry all the data of Nigerians together. We don't want outsiders to come and travel from our database. If you have national identity card, we must be in Nigeria. And once you do that, you register, then you have a smooth journey. As soon as you pay your money, all other things will be given to you. Your yellow card immunizations, everything will be done. Then you have a smooth Hajj.
However, foreigners that reside in Nigeria legally are allowed to register as long as they tender their residence permit.
If you're a foreigner, you have a resident permit to stay in Nigeria, you can also travel. Your passport will indicate that you are a foreigner working in Nigeria that has a stay. But for foreigners who want to disguise as Nigeria to travel, it will be difficult for them because they will not have access to our national identity card. Those that are legitimate, have the right to stay in the country, are allowed to travel for Hajj. Not those that are coming through illegal means and want to travel. We don't want that. Because if you came in through illegal, we'll not be able to do a check on your passport.
NAHCON, in collaboration with states, the FCT, armed forces and tour operators are taking every necessary step to enforce compliance with all the requirements for pilgrims' registration.
The National Hajj Commission as a body is a supervisory body performing its own oversight functions on all these agencies that are conducting Hajj operation, be it State Pilgrims Welfare Board or a private tour operator. So we monitor them very closely to ensure that, one, the Pilgrims Fund is not misused. Two, the services that is to be rendered to the pilgrims, both onshore and offshore, are being rendered. Third, and the pilgrim who intend to perform Hajj is well educated to understand the Hajj he is going to perform in Saudi Arabia. The pilgrim is well educated to understand the environment he is moving to.
While the registration is ongoing nationwide, intending pilgrims are advised to register at designated centers. The registration exercise is free.
Over the years, there have been so much complaints of quacks in the society who move about to villages and towns, informing intending pilgrims that they are the agents of State Pilgrims Welfare Board, or they are an agent of office that handle issues of Hajj. They try to mislead them, collect their own money, and disappear. So whoever intend to perform Hajj, the first advice I want to give them is to ensure that they have gone to the office of the Pilgrims Agency Board or whatever name that the state call them. And they should have access, even in the office, they should have access to the people who are designated to carry out that duties.
Go to the registration centers with your passport and register yourself. It's at no cost. None of the pilgrims should pay anybody for form. There's nothing like form. Go online and register and pay your money to the centers, and the money will be transferred to Central Bank. If anybody asks you to bring any money, report that person to the nearest office of National Health Commission, because form is free. Register online, you don't pay any money. Unlike previously, we hear that some states are collecting money for forms. This, we have advised the state to stop collecting money for form. Register online and pay your Hajj fare to the account.
NAHCON also has post-registration guidelines. The Commission has made it mandatory for state pilgrims boards to put in place adequate training programs for intending pilgrims at designated centers. Such centers must have qualified trainers. The training materials must be in line with the relevant manual provided by NAHCON. Certificate of attendance must be provided to each attendee. Each intending pilgrim must record at least 70% attendance during the training. Officials shall also ensure that all intending pilgrims are vaccinated in accordance with the World Health Organization requirements.
In order not to cause some sort of confusion on the part of the pilgrim, somebody who is coming out from a rural area, moving to Saudi Arabia, whereby the facilities there are sophisticated, the town is not well understood. So it is the duty of the Pilgrims National Hajj Commission to ensure that the agencies concerned, that is the State Pilgrims Welfare Board or the tour operators, educate these pilgrims very well.
All these registration guidelines provided by the Commission are reviewed as the need arises.
In our feedback segment tonight, we begin with the message of Abdullahi from Kaduna. The message reads, I am advising all states Hajj officials to start Pilgrims Enlightenment campaign as early as possible. Doing so will give intending pilgrims ample time to understand more about Hajj rites. Also from Kaduna State, Adamushawu says, I commend NAHCON for its plans to rehabilitate all Hajj camps in the country. It is a welcome development. Keep it up. The third message tonight is from Salisu Muazu from Edo State. He also talked about the rehabilitation of Hajj camps. We hope the ongoing projects at Hajj camps will look at the issues of security, particularly the fencing of the camps.
لك الملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم